Okay, it's time to begin. We are in the third class of our 3-year cycle through the Bible narrative. First class, we went through the 17 periods and looked at that. The whole narrative from beginning to end. And then last time we got into chapter 1 of Genesis, the first few verses. This morning we'll cover chapters 1 and 2. Hang on, bad morning. So let's look at what we talked about Wednesday night a little bit, a little review, kind of catch up and get everybody back into where we were here. We spent a lot of bit of time talking about the first 5 words of Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. Excuse me, I'm sorry. In the beginning, God created. In the beginning, God created. And we talked about Wednesday night. This tells us several things. It tells the when, who, what. When, in the beginning, the who's God and what he did, he created. We spent some time analyzing each of these and going through them. In the beginning, the when, in the beginning of time as we know it. Time is established by the creative acts of God when he created the heavens and the earth. Time, we're used to seeing time. And then we talked about the word created. The bottom definition up there says make something from nothing. That's what God did. There was nothing there. He made the earth, heavens and earth out of it, and all the things that were in it. We'll talk about those today. And reading back through this, I noticed in that very first definition there, it says caused to exist were previously to this moment. Thing wasn't there. So God spoke, and it was there. That moment. It was not there, and then it was there. Okay. And then we spent quite a bit of time talking about this phrase here, and God said. That's all through this first chapter. And God said, and God said, and God said. And we'll see that this morning as we look at the rest of chapter 1. He spoke it into being. Various verses here we've looked at that to the point. God spoke, and it happened. Spoke the word into being. He keeps it there now by the word of his power. And someday, by that same word, he will bring it to pass. Then we looked a little bit at who was there at the creation. We talked about God the Father, the Spirit hovering over the waters, and John chapter 1, the first few verses, that the Word was there. So all 3 of the beings of the Godhead, Father, the Son, and the Spirit, present during this. We'll see this morning the verse, let us make man. Pour over us there. We also looked briefly at Matthew chapter 3, verse 16, 17. At the baptism of Jesus, those same 3 entities identified there. When Jesus was being baptized, the Spirit descended like a dove, and the Father spoke from heaven. So. And then we spent a little bit of time on the first 2 days of creation. And let's get started back on that this morning. So read us the first 8 verses, if you would, of Genesis 1. First 8 verses.
And darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning was the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, for the evening and the morning, for the second day.
Okay, we get that moment down to the fourth day, and God creates the sun, moon, and the stars. And He has the sun to rule the light of the day and the moon to the night. But what has already happened here on the first day? We got light and we got darkness. And what do they call? Day and night. Okay? Day and night already called that back in here with creation on verse 1. So we have darkness, light is created that separates the light and the darkness, and then the separation of the heavens from the waters below. And then we spent a little bit of time last time talking about this term day, 24/6 literal 24-hour days, and God created the earth in 6 days. Moses refers to this in Exodus chapter 20. In 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth. And he spent a little time on the various theories that's there to spread that out, whatever. So that kind of catches up where we were from last time. All right, let's get into this a little bit now and finish up chapter 1 and get into chapter 2. All right, the next day will be the day 3, and this is verses 9 through 13 of Genesis chapter 1. Let the waters under the heavens be, we've already got them separated now, between the heavens is there, the waters above and the waters below. Now we're going to separate the waters that are on the earth. So he separates the waters are all gathered to one place. Dry land appears. God had called the dry land earth. The waters are gathered together, they call the seas. And God saw it was good. And let the earth sprout vegetation and plants and seeds and fruit trees bearing fruit, which is their kind, each one according to its kind on the earth. It was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seeds according to their own kind, seeds bearing fruit, in which their seed according to its kind, and God saw it was good. It was evening and morning, and it was the third day. So, the third day we have water separating, dry lands appearing. So we got the dry land, the seas, and the various plants and vegetation on the third day. All right, fourth day, verse 14 through 19. And this is where we get the light and the expanse of the heavens. And he puts there the sun, the moon, and the stars. The greater light for the day, the lesser light for the night, and the stars are there. So in verses 14 through 19 are the sun and the moon and the stars. Two great lights, the greater light through the day, the lesser light through the night. The stars are there. And the fourth day, and again, God felt it was good. Every day you notice the expression there. It was good, it was good, it was good, it was good. God said it, it happened, and it was good. See that repeated, the pattern over and over. Fifth day is easy to remember. It's the fish and the fowls. So 5, fifth, fish, fowls. So verse 20, as the waters swarmed and the water from living creatures, birds fly above the earth, and the expanse of the heavens. God created the great sea creatures, every living creature that moves. The waters swarmed there, every winged bird, and all these things, and these fruits will multiply, the waters and the sea, and even in the morning there for the fifth day. So we got the light and the darkness, we got the heavens, expanse, we got the dry land appearing, leaving the seas and dry lands, we got the plants on that third day, sun, moon, the stars, and now the fish and the fowls on the fifth day. So now we get to the sixth day. The sixth day, starting in verse 24, that the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kind, livestock, creeping things, beasts of the earth, all according to their kinds, and it was so. God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and everything that creeps in the ground according to its kind, and God saw that it was good. So now we have all these land animals, the things that creep on the earth, are created on the sixth day. But then he adds something else on the sixth day. Just to us here. Verse 26. Verse 26, God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, that have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the heavens, livestock, all the earth, and everything that creeps. So God created, verse 27, man in his own image, The image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. We'll talk about these phrases a little bit more when we get to those parts of the lesson a little bit. So, verse 31, last part of the chapter. God looked at everything he had made. What did he say about it now? It's very good. Okay? He used the word good several times so far, and now he looks at his whole creation, all 6 days of it, he's finished with it, and he says it is very good. Very good. So, got to leave chapter 1 for a minute, move into chapter 2. We're going to pick up some of the phrases in chapter 1 as we go through some of this stuff into it. So chapter 2, we're going to get a little bit of a repeat or a more detailed expanse into some of the things we talked about in chapter 1. The first thing we see in chapter 2 is that God did what? It's finished. Seventh day there, he rests. And a couple of words are interesting here. We rest from when we have worked, we rest. So what does this verse say God did? He rested from his what? His work. He had been working. Creation here was work for God. So that. But did something else for the seventh day. Because he finished and rested on the seventh day, what do you do with the seventh day? Sanctified it, set it apart, made it special from the very beginning here in time. He rested on the seventh day. Now, we'll get into here the creation of man in God's image. Tell me what it means, the fact that man is created in God's image. It means to be created in our image. Okay. What makes us different from the other animals he created on the sixth day? The fact that we have a soul. We have a soul, okay? It's that spirit. When God's image, from God is a spirit. And we are created with a spirit, with a soul, with a different being, a different part than what the animals have. So go back to Genesis to chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. He created man in his own image. And that ties that into what's said in chapter 2. So, chapter 2, verse 7. The Lord formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed his nostrils the breath of life. Man became a living soul. Look back just before that. I think that's where it is. Well, what did God make all the beasts of the fields and everything, all the other animals he made that day? Notice there that they're also made from dust of the ground. Okay. God made man from the dust of the ground, breathed his nostrils, his breath of life, and man became a living being. Other translations say a living soul. There. So even though chapter 1, last part's where he said he made man, now we're looking at more details about how he makes man and what he does with man and what he gives to man from that standpoint. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, those are the parts out over here, Tim. We're made in God's image. If a son acts like he's the image of his father, what does he do? You see those characteristics and traits in him when he acts like and speaks like and moves like his father, which is what we should do in a spiritual standpoint. We should act like our father, talk like our father, do those things that would please him from that standpoint. Okay. So now we got man created, and God's going to make this special place for man to be. This Garden of Eden in Eden here. The things about it, look at the plants that are there. He talks about the trees in the garden, given for man to eat, for food. There are 4 rivers are mentioned there, 2 of which are even identifiable today, the Tigris and Euphrates. To bring us kind of where it'll be. I'll show you a map here in a minute where it's thought to be. And there's also spoken of the precious stones and gold and other things that are in the area there. And God takes man and he puts him there in this garden. But not just to be there in the paradise. What's he there for? What's he there in the garden for? It's giving man work to do when he's there in the garden. God's created this garden and man's there to tend it and to keep it. And that stands for. So here's a map, circled down toward the bottom there, the area where it's thought by scholars that the garden, the river names that are coming through there. The Pishon, at the very bottom, that's a question mark, that where it really was. Two of the rivers are named, the Tigris and the Euphrates, where they come down from there. So is that really where it was? I don't know, but it's just a reasonable guess and scholar. Now, man's in the garden. God gives him some can and some can'ts. So what can he do? He can eat every tree in the garden. But then there's a can't. Okay. Every tree in the garden, but which one? Tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay. That day you eat of it, you're going to die. Now, notice this is made, if you look at the chronology here, this is told to Adam before woman is created. So Adam's told this by God. When we get to the next chapter about Eve sinning, but did she know about this? We'll talk about that. Sure she did, but the chronology is no there about that. So he puts the man in the garden, eat of every tree there in the garden, except the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and you should not eat that. Eat that, you're going to die. So God looks at all this creation he has. He's created the earth and all these things that are in it. We looked at in chapter 1. He's created man and this garden for him to have with all these trees to eat the fruit of. But what's missing? A helper for man. Okay. But none of the animals are made for that. So God looks at it and says, man shouldn't be alone. I will create a helper comparable to him. So because of that, then, he takes this deep sleep to go on man. He takes them from man, and he creates woman. At this standpoint, he brings her to the man. I know this is all familiar to everybody. It's got in here already, so it's review for most everybody. And if I be alone, God creates a helper for him and brings her down. Then we get into this verse 24. I'm going to talk about it several minutes here, and then some more get better on into it. Then. You got a Bible there. There you got a Bible. Read verse 24. Good loud, please. This is 2:24.
Therefore, man shall leave his father and his mother.
Okay. Tell me what you see in this verse. This verse tells us. The exact point I wanted to get to start with, Doug. Thank you. What is the therefore? Why is this verse important? What has this been said about before this? Man was there, woman was made, brought to man, okay, for him to be with, and based on that example, what God has done here, he says, therefore, based on this, and he gives this law here about marriage. Therefore, a man shall do what? Leave his father and mother. So what are we doing now? It's creating a separate new household, a new arrangement, leaving father and mother, and going to his what? His wife, not his what? Not his partner, not his anything else you want to put in there besides that. Okay. Not she shall leave her father and mother and be joined to her partner, or whatever the modern terms are these days. But a man was created, a woman was created, they were brought together, and God said, based on that teaching, what? Based on that, a man will leave his father and mother, be joined to his wife, they become one flesh. I got a slide later on that talks more about that one flesh thing a little bit. Okay. Lots and lots and lots of lessons in that verse. Now, why do we look at this verse here? And generally it's referred to as God's universal marriage law. Why would it be for people like you and me and not for Adam and Eve? Hopefully we're not out there, but why could they not do this? Didn't have a father and mother to leave, okay? But it wasn't that Adam and Eve was to leave their father and mother, set this thing up, but based on what God had done in creating them and putting them together, he sets this principle forth there. Now, come back to that just in a minute. Also, taken off from this, with Malachi, they become one flesh. Okay, God hates divorce. They become one flesh, and that way for life. So, when Matthew 19, when Jesus is teaching about marriage and divorce, what does he go back to for his basis? Goes back to from the what? From the beginning. He goes back to this very point in time we're talking about here. He made them at the beginning, made them male and female. Got that again brought out here. And leave his father and mother, joined to his wife. They two shall become one flesh. No longer two, but one. When God puts them together, man shouldn't take them apart. So Jesus, Matthew 19 here, goes back to this very verse in Genesis 2:24 for his principle of marriage. Now, got some time left. Let's think about some things for us. Going back to this whole 2 chapters here. I believe the first 5 words of the Bible. We talked about this quite a bit last time. In the beginning, God created. Okay. If I don't believe those words, then what? What did it open up? Why don't I believe the rest of it, right? That's one of my slides in a minute. Why don't I believe the rest of it? Okay. If I don't believe this, then what am I going to use to explain the world? Where did it come from? I got to go to evolution or some type of other thing besides in the beginning God created. I don't take these first 5 words here. So I got to explain where the world came from. I've got to look where I came from. Because in the same chapters where man is created. But if God didn't create the world, if I don't believe that, then where did I come from? God, we talked about him last time, him being eternal, already in existence for this point in time in the beginning. So, is there anything left for me after this life? If I don't take the first 5 words here, that in the beginning God created, that God was eternal, that God existed. So what's for me after this life? It all came about by just some part of evolution. Then the point made a minute ago. Why not believe in the rest part of the Bible if I don't believe this? If I can't believe these first 5 words, this first verse, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, why would I want to believe in the rest of it? Lots of people look at it. Somebody's got some kind of comment. Right? Believe that, it does what it does. No. Yes, sir. Yeah, hang on, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Good point. Okay. I'll get there in a minute. Good point. Yeah, we made the comment last time, remember that. And God said, and God said, and God said. And we believe that He created the world by His hand said, God said. It's also God said a lot of things over here. What we're thinking about too. If we believe that this happened and God spoke it into existence, then we all believe other things God said. Yeah. Okay, I got it here now. Ephesians 1. Think about what God did for us. Before the foundations of the world, chose us, predestined us, adoption of His sons through Christ. Take that verse back to this very time before the beginning we're talking about here. What God has done for us, that through Christ adopted us as His sons. All right, now, Albert, here's the point. Okay. God spoke and the world was created. Power? How much power? God spoke and it happened. Okay, we did it. Awesome. I've seen several pictures on social media the last few days of the aurora lights caused by the sun flare and this kind of stuff. Some beautiful, beautiful pictures have come out in the last few days. If you've seen those or not. This awesome, complicated world we live in with all these systems, all the systems in my body that God created. This design, this omniscience, this all-knowing God who would create such stuff as this. I'll make this song when we sing it mean that much more to it. How great is our God? What has He done for us? What did He do in this creation? The power, the might, awesomeness of this world He's created here. Think of my soapbox here for 1 minute. This word awesome, I hear used. I mean, I hear a lot in your environment you're in. I hear it used a lot. Oh, that's awesome. Man, that was awesome. Ooh, that was awesome. I don't like that word used like that. This was awesome. What God did was awesome. Some of the things that we use that word for, they are not awesome. God and His mighty creation, awesome. It was perfect in design, done by His mighty power. How great is our God? How will I respond to such a deal? I'm not going to react. Think about God, what He is, who He is, what He's done, and the fact that I'm created for Him. What does that mean to me? Somebody said earlier, I'm in His image. I do what He says. I do things like He does. I walk like He walks. Talk like He talks. Think like He thinks. I reflect Him in me. No Dennis, you got to come to class this morning if you have some comments. He hasn't said a word yet. Okay, anybody thoughts on this slide? Got a couple more here. Okay. Let's go back to marriage for a minute and talk about that. God's marriage rule from the beginning was a man and a woman. Be married together. Where I got a couple slides of comments here. These two should become one flesh, considered as one body, no separate or independent rights, privileges, cares, concerns, each being equally interested in all things concerning the marriage state. Come together as husband and wife. We are married. No longer what I want. I'm now living and working for my spouse. Use them to do things for them. We do things together. We are one. Sure, there's the husband's the head. I understand all that. The wife's the mission. But common, equal terms there. How long have you been married? A long time. He don't know, does he? I mean, 59 years, okay. I picked on him, and maybe somebody in here that's got longer than that, I don't know. But maybe the longest in the room. 59 years. And I will assure you those 59 years didn't happen unless some of this principle was there. Yielding to one another. And I've got this in my slides. I think the last time I taught this Genesis was for a high school class. So I know some of you have been married 59 years. You don't need this slide anymore necessarily. We do have a few young folks here, though. Certainly, it's things that you know for them. This marriage situation together, common interest, caring for one another, the marriage relationship. And there's one more here. This is how happy such a state would be where God's institution is properly regarded. Parties are married as the apostle expressed in the Lord. By acts of the most tender kindness, deals only to anticipate wishes and contribute in every way possible to the comfort and happiness of the other. We have some young married couples here. Think about the marriage situation and living for one another, making each other happy, caring for one another, contributing to the happiness of the other. And you want to worry about what God said about divorce. They don't do that. I am so used to teaching class where I get lots of comments. I'm finishing early every class, but not getting any comments back. We talk about some stuff for it. Hey, go, Dennis. Okay. Thank you.
Back up now.
Yeah.
One of the kind of characteristics of God is love. When we focus on that aspect of it, and think about how that distinguishes us from animals. Dogs can be loyal because they're bored, they're cared for, and so on. But love is my choice. And one of the very things that distinguishes brings it all from the Father's challenge. If we weren't made in God's image, able to love, we wouldn't have choices. And therefore, there would be no question of temptation, sin, all the other things that go with that. Sometimes people have this idea that God did us a disservice by making us able to choose. If we had not been able to choose, He would not have made us in His image, because we would not be able to love. So it's really part of that definition that you give right here in chapter 1, sets the stage for everything else that's going to happen.
And as we usually do, because of the broadcast and because of still here, and I'll try to repeat what Dennis said here, most of it pretty. But being made in God's image, what is the one characteristic that God has that He gave us, He didn't give to any animals, the ability to love. From the very beginning here, I'm making us in His image, that ability to love. He loves us, we love Him. It sets the stage for everything that's going to happen through the rest of the Bible. In chapter 3, we get to next time, if man had loved God properly, would he have sinned? No. Okay. But we're different. We're in His image. That one characteristic I did not bring out, thank you, Dennis, is that of love. God has love. God is love. He gave us the ability to love. Now, the other animals have that. It's a loyal dog, but not love.
It's the one that others, let it tell us, Ephesians 5:1, to make yourself one with the other, fear of God.
Principle here, Genesis 2:24, is throughout the Scripture. A number of times in the New Testament talks about it. Okay. Anybody else? 5 minutes left. We'll start here again. Yes.
Outside of Christians' commitment
commitment. And so often in the marriage ceremony, everything is the ceremony itself because the attention of the vows. That's all we have to teach our young folks, real the vows and what they mean in, well, before that wedding ceremony, because I'm very, very fearful that in a wedding ceremony, nobody knows what they said anyhow. Because they're all awkward for the time. So the actual vows are being made. We're not just now getting into the man and man and woman relationships that we see in our modern society now. Go back to the time of product, the problem is horror there, then. So it's not just something that's viewed us now. And I don't know this, Rob, but if you think about chapter 6, we're not very far off from here, and total wickedness of the world in, we're not including the same type of thing. I don't know. So wicked, God decided to say that. All right, next class, Wednesday night, we'll look at chapter 3. So if you want to read it 2 or 3 times, be good for that. And we'll talk about the breaking of this law. Dennis talked about and sins, and then start getting in your mind, if you don't have it, Genesis 3:15 in the context there. Well, it's got to know verses. You've got to hang on to it as we go through Genesis 3:15, that promise. That's the stage what's coming down the road. Okay?
In the beginning was the Word was God, the Word was with God, you know, and bring out the fact that the Word Christ, and bring that out for people who sometimes have never heard of it.
Yeah. We talked about that quite a bit last time. Bring it to John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, which is Christ. He was there with God then.